Alrighty then, the time has come. Now, I do apologise for this taking so long. I needed a break from spreadsheets, despite the fact that I did promise you guys I'd get on this pretty damn soon. It turns out the break I needed was a little bit longer than anticipated, and then Warhammer Darktide came out, and beautiful game, beautiful game. Nothing like smashing heretics. Anyway, if you don't know what I am on about, because you're new here, then I went through every weapon in the game, minus the marksman rifles, and DPS checked every single weapon and basically categorized them. I did them blanket with a standardized build. I then gave them like optimized builds. I then calculated in their talents and their attachments, and then I even calculated in varying accuracy. The accuracy side of it you will want to take with a pinch of salt, which I do mention in the aforementioned videos, simply because how accurate I am with them is not going to be how accurate you are with them. However, the accuracy part of it does kind of have a solid-ish meaning, and if you want to know what this side of it means, then just look no further than the video I did with the rifles. Simply just because a lot of rifles are actually higher in DPS than the classic M1A. The problem is they can't hit the broadside of a barn from 5 meters, simply due to the fact that they are about as accurate as a KVD video. So accuracy does kind of play a part. For this, I have heavily relied on what is actually considered to be the upper end of those weapons, along with my own personal findings, and it turns out they're mostly identical. And I have summarized the top 5 weapons from each category. Now, if you would like to see my build testing and DPS testing, it is under this playlist, Meta Testing. So just go over to the playlist and you can find all of them, or feel free to just traipse through my varying videos. Interacting with that video in some description does help out, and I will be forever grateful. Now, moving on to the actual topic of this video. So the top weapons per category: for AR, we have FAMAS, F2000, Honey Badger, Police M4, CTAR. CTAR was a difficult one to put in there, but the other option was Bighorn, and despite how powerful Bighorn can be, when you calculate in the accuracy, it's either up there with FAMAS or it's at the bottom with fucking Eagle Bearer. So I went with the safer option, which is CTAR. For SMG, Dark Winter, Tactical Vector. That's the exact same weapon as Dark Winter, just without Perfect Killer. Lady Death, Chatterbox, then the Banshee. When it comes to rifles, it is Stage Left, M1A CQB, SOCOM M1A, Dr. Home, Classic M1A. Weirdly, they are all part of the M1A series. For LMG, we have the L86, RPK, New Reliable, Blue Screen, and Pestilence. These were kind of annoying to calculate simply because of the whole suppress mechanic. The LMGs selected here, either 1 had the highest DPS and had the highest rate of killing, or 2 had the highest rate of killing through not suppressing their enemies or having a mechanic, such as Pestilence, to work around it. There are other LMGs that do have more DPS than Pestilence. Problem is, once you've suppressed that target, DPS goes out the window, whereas if Plague of the Outcast is on the enemy, although that's not the most DPS, it is still DPS and it can still kill. Shotguns. Super 90, obviously. Scorpio, obviously. MH70, obviously. And then it was essentially Tsunami. The problem was, the next on the list in terms of DPS was the SAS G12. Tsunami is a SAS G12. The only real weapon talent that you would put on a shotgun is either Fast Hands or Pummel. So essentially we've got the SAS G12 twice. However, the gap between Tsunami / SAS G12 and the rest of the shotguns is laughable at best. Even the 612 kind of ended up lacking. So basically slots 4 and 5 for shotgun are essentially taken by the exact same weapon. For pistol, we're not going to mention Regulus. M1911, Tactical M1911, yes, they are different weapons. Card, and then the Card Custom. Yeah. Now, to start off with our testing, I did do a blanket test with a very basic meta crit build, and I ignored when calculating two aspects of it. Okay, so the build I was using was this 3-piece Providence, utilizing the gift as well as the sacrifice, Grupo holster, Providence defense for the mask to finish off our 3-piece, Fox's prayer knees, and Contractor's gloves. Now obviously we are testing multiple weapons, LMGs and rifles included, so the 10% from Contractors for LMGs and the 10% from Fox's for rifles have been completely discarded. So these are the brand set bonuses. Providence giving 15 headshot, 10 crit chance, 15 crit damage. Grupo giving 15 crit damage. Petrov giving LMG damage of 10%. And Overlord giving rifle damage of 10%. But like I said, we are discarding these, so we're only going to focus on these. Now annoyingly, when actual play testing, I can't do this. However, when calculating, it's quite simple. I just don't plug in an extra 10% rifle damage. Problem solved. The reason I'm doing this is because it puts everything in sort of blanket across the board. I'm just essentially testing everything at a 60% crit chance rate with as much critical hit damage as I can get, utilizing approximately 10% to 18% damage to targets out of cover depending on the weapon, with 8% to 20% damage to armor in some cases like shotguns, along with perfect vigilance for an extra 25% total weapon damage, and perfect glass cannon for 30% unique multiplier. Now I am classing this as no build, no talent. It's just sort of like a blanket build. I've not really tried to maximize anything. I'm just sort of going for pure crit, and this is the order of the listing. In at number 1 we have the Super 90, then the Tsunami / Sash G12, Chatterbox, Scorpio, Regulus, Dr. Home. So for those people thinking Dr. Home is shit, it's on the meta list. Lady Death, M1A CQB, Stage Left, M870, Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, SOCOM M1A, Banshee, FAMAS, Card, Classic M1A, F2000, L86, Police M4, Honey Badger, RPK, New Reliable, CTAR, Blue Screen, M1911, Card Custom, Tactical M1911, and then Pestilence. The total drop from first place to last place is a grand total of 59.19%. Now again, this is with a rather blanket build. I've not tried to optimize the build in like what would best suit that weapon. I've also not calculated in, such as, like I said, for the LMGs, the 10% LMG damage from Contractors, or the 10% damage from Fox's Prayer for rifles. SMGs were at like 65% critical hit chance, which is also kind of unfair on them, although they did have at least 10% more critical hit damage than everything else. So the test is kind of unfair and rather biased. However, if we add in the talents, I had given assault rifles killer, rifles rifleman, LMGs strained, SMGs killer, pistols killer, and shotguns pummel. And then redid the test with their blanket boring build. This is the result. Regulus coming in at top, Super 90, Sash G12 and Tsunami, Stage Left, Chatterbox, M1A CQB, M870, Scorpio, SOCOM M1A, Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Dr. Home, Lady Death, Banshee, Classic M1A, FAMAS, Card, L86, F2000, RPK, Police M4, Honey Badger, CTAR, M1911, Card Custom, Tactical M1911, New Reliable, Blue Screen, Pestilence. Just for comparative sake, going to put the original one up so you can see how and potentially where things have moved. Overall, the top of the board is very much shotgun and rifle heavy. In the middle, you've got SMGs, some pistols and ARs. And then at the bottom, you've got pistol and LMG. Then comes the fun part. Because, you know, this hasn't been enough work already. It's like, we'll be on like 7th video of just testing DPS checks that have been tested time and time again. But I'm just the latest idiot doing it. So, if some absolute mad lad were to go through and make an optimized build for each and every single weapon, ensuring that they are at 60% crit chance, or however their build or weapon might want to be played out, and just maximize that, and then just throw it out there. I do apologize for being so small. It is a massive, massive spreadsheet, and that's only a quarter of it. So I can put the full thing up if people really want on like a community post. But yeah, it's a nightmare. I'm already in trouble with Hutchler for actually doing it in this manner, because apparently there's an easier way to do it. It's just like, I have to show my working. So from here, all ARs got this build: Perfect Vigilance, Perfect Glass Cannon, Contractor's Foxes, 3-piece Providence, Coyote's Mask. They were all at 60% crit chance, and they kind of flip-flopped between 221 critical hit damage and 216% critical hit damage. LMG's got pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference now is I'm going to be adding in that 10% LMG damage from Contractors. Rifles, again, were pretty identical. The only difference with this is I am running Punch Drunk as the mask, simply due to the fact that the talent is going to be Rifleman. The talent for ARs was Killer, and the talent for LMGs was Strained, minus, of course, Named as well as Exotics. SMGs were given this bad boy. I feel like this is a pretty decent standard way to go. Using Intimidate with Memento, this gives you 130% weapon damage before Expertise, and 40.71 multiplier with Intimidate, and then another 40 multiplier from Hunter's Fury. I believe for some reason I've messed up and I've got a Negotiator's Dilemma piece in that showcase there, because I'm an idiot. Shotguns were given this. This is actually a bit of a monster build. If you haven't tried it out, I do actually recommend it, minus those Negotiator gloves. I'm all over this today. Yeah, this puts them at 50% crit chance and like 150% critical hit damage, along with having two 40% multipliers. Well, 40.71 for Intimidate. And yeah, it absolutely slaps. Doing a pistol build for DPS is quite an interesting one. Punch Drunk, Seska Backpack, Grupo Chest, Contractors, Foxes, and then Claws Out. This gives us like 29% pistol damage, and then Detox, DTA, crit chance, crit damage, and of course headshot damage, because pistols are headshot monsters. Getting them to do crit and headshot is actually a very, very, very viable way to go. That was the build I was using, minus Regulus, because if you've ever played Regulus, you know that there's only really one way to build it. Shock, horror, gasp. Although I have Dodge City Holster in there, I am not calculating the talent quick draw. I'm just calculating in the weapon damage as well as the headshot. So, yeah, we'll see how well this goes. Now, typically when I do these videos, I will go through and calculate accuracy as well. I'm not going to be doing that because it's completely unfair on all of the weapons. Clearly at 30, 40, 50 meters, rifles are going to outperform pretty much most things. At 5 meters to 10 meters, shotguns are going to decimate. But then there is also Regulus. So coming in with 34.5 million DPS is Regulus. Next up, with near enough a 46% drop in overall DPS, is the Super 90. Then the stage left, Sasji and Tsunami, Chatterbox, M1A CQB, M870, Dark Winter, Scorpio, Tactical Vector, SOCOM M1A, Lady Death, Dr. Home, Banshee, Classic M1A, L86, FAMAS, RPK, Card, F2000, Police M4, Honey Badger, CTAR, New Reliable, M1911 card custom blue screen, tactical M1911, and then pestilence. Again, pretty much the top part of the board is, well, other than regulars, is shotgun and rifle with a few SMGs, and it's SMGs, rifle, and ARs. And at the bottom we've got ARs, pistols, and the remaining LMGs. They are the total DPS checks that I'm going to be doing, because I need a holiday or something. My eyes have gone cross-eyed from staring at spreadsheets for far too long. Yeah, that's your meta checklist essentially. Now, I am trying to compile a few speedrunner-esque builds. I say speedrunner-esque builds. They're typically builds that speedrunners will use, but do work wonders in solo open world as well as just your general missions, which I'm going to be going over. Some of them are not new. Some are very old indeed. However, hopefully, we can spread some weird and wacky love and get people trying out new and exciting things. Anyway, that is just about going to do it for this video. I've been Dod. You've been awesome. Have fun. Good luck. And don't die. It's bad for the health.